Hey Robertson Chapel, welcome back to the Bible reading plan. Today we're in Luke 2, and we just barely missed Christmas with this verse. We didn't time it very well, but this is the traditional chapter that we read every single Christmas. It's the birth of Jesus in the account of Luke, and there's so many things I could talk about. I'm just gonna try to keep it a little short today because you could write 50 sermons plus. You guys write so much about this chapter, about what happened in this chapter and what it means. It's one of those foundational scriptures for our faith. It's the birth of Jesus, and if Jesus wasn't born, how would he die and resurrect? It's just there's so much that went into the birth of Jesus. There were so many moving parts. We have at the beginning, it just kind of Luke gives us a whole swarm of things that are happening. Mary has been told that that Jesus is going to be born, even though she's a virgin. So she's going through that, and then we have Joseph who absolved to put her away quietly, but then he comes face to face with an angel, and then they decide to stay together and raise Jesus. And then now they have to go to Bethlehem because there's a census going to take place. So they're traveling to Bethlehem, and then they can't find a place to stay, so they have to stay in an animal pen in somewhere where a manger is. There's probably a stable or some cave they had animals in, and so now they're there, and then Mary goes into labor, so they have to lay Jesus in a manger, in a feeding trough. And the King of the world brought very, very low. His first moments where where animals eat was his first bed. Was the first throne of the king was a lowly manger where everyone else around them was sleeping in the inn. They were in a manger. They were in a stable. So the highest of highs, the highest of highs of highs was brought the lowest of lowest willingly for us. And that's the gospel right there. It's this plan was conceived in love. It was executed in humility. All of Jesus' life was characterization of humility, and it resulted in our salvation. See, this is the beginning of the plan of the institution of the plan that God had to redeem the world. And Jesus carried this humility out through his entire life up until the cross, where he willingly laid his life down. Even though people were beating him and spitting on him and persecuting him, he still chose to go to the cross. And I want to so we see so much talk of salvation and rejoicing here. It's a chapter that we know well, but I want to go to the end of the chapter in verse 49. So Mary and Joseph have gone to Passover in Jerusalem, and they leave, and it's been like 3 days, and they realize they don't know where Jesus is. Or it's been a day, and they realize they don't know where Jesus is, so it takes 3 days in all to find him. And he's in the temple talking to the leaders in the temple, and they're just amazed at him. And so they said, they're like, "Why did you do this to us?" And in verse 49 it says, "And Jesus said to them, why were you looking for me? Did you not know I must be in my Father's house?" And I really like how the New King James puts it. I don't really know which is the closest translation, but the New King James says, "Do you not know that I'm supposed to be about my Father's business?" And it's really cool because when a boy gets to about 12 or 13, they start learning under their father's business. So Joseph was a carpenter, so around 12 or 13, Jesus would traditionally be learning carpentry or be learning how to carry on that business. And Jesus here, as a young boy, is in the temple when he was 12 years old. It's time for him to start learning his father's business. He says, and he recognizes that God is his father, and he tells them, "I was about my Father's business. I was training under my Father." So Jesus tells us, we can be called sons of God, sons and daughters of the King. So we should also be about our Father's business. So it just shows us about Jesus. He wants to, even from a young age, abide with his Father, be in the presence of his Father, and that's how he did that. So just think about that. I want you to sit today, think about the gravity of the situation, that God himself, the highest of highs, we can't even fathom how large he is and how small we are to him. He decided to come down and send his son to die, send his son in the form of one of us, and send him to die for the sins of the world. So just take some time today, ponder on that, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye.